Today will be a day to remember for the rest of your life. The Pro Football Hall of Fame is excited to present the heart of a Hall of Famer program connected by Extreme Networks. With over 100 Hall of Famers participating, we have reached 47 states and countries all over the world, sharing the message that football is more than a game and can teach Americans important life values like commitment, integrity, courage, respect, and honesty.
But you have to make right decisions even when nobody's watching you.
Well, respect is not just given out. It's not handed out like a brochure. It's earned.
Today, you are presented with an opportunity to meet and learn from one of the greatest football players of all time. But more important than that, the chance to see that their Hall of Fame life wasn't given to them. They didn't roll out the bed great. They put the work in, on the field, in the weight room, in the classroom, in their communities. They made themselves a Hall of Famer on and off the field.
Your feet can't take you where your mind's never been.
Because you can make it, but it's just gonna take a little hard work and some effort and a drive and determination.
And today, you will learn you can do the same thing they did. You don't have to have a gold jacket or a bronze bust to make a difference in the lives of others. It's your decision whether you want to be a successful student, son, daughter, brother, or sister.
If attitudes are contagious, is your attitude worth catching?
It's integrity as well, because when you decide to pursue something and you don't quit, that says a lot about you.
Commitment to excellence. We can all aspire to be the best.
Welcome to a once-in-a-lifetime program, the heart of a Hall of Famer program, connected by Extreme Networks.
The lesson is simple. The lesson is simple. Bring your will and perseverance to everything worth doing. When the reward is sublime, the risks are higher, and you must embrace the uncomfortable to go into that rarefied air of excellence.
Good morning, and welcome to North Gwinnett High School here in Suwanee, Georgia, for our latest installment of a Heart of a Hall of Famer series connected by Extreme Networks, featuring Pro Football Hall of Famer Morten Andersen. My name is Jack Prusser. I'm the Youth Education and Leadership Coordinator at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, where it is our job to honor the greatest of the game, preserve its history, promote its values, and to celebrate excellence together. Before I talk about the values of the game of football, which is what this program focuses on, I want to talk about and thank a few people before we get started. First off, thank you to Extreme Networks for being a great partner on this program. We're joined today by two Extreme reps, Paul and Paul over here. So let's give them a hand real quick. Secondly, I'd like to thank teachers, administrators, and the coaches today. Obviously, those of Gwinnett allowing us to come in here and speak to your students. What a great opportunity it is for them to get to hear from a Pro Football Hall of Famer. But to those also listening to remote, right? Thank you guys for allowing your students to hear this great message too. Students and football players in front of me today, right? What a great opportunity, as I mentioned before I started the program. But take the time, engage, have good questions, right? This program's for you guys. It wouldn't just be me sitting up here talking to Morten, which I wouldn't mind, but this program's centered for you guys. Secondly, YouTube Live participants, whether it's students or teachers, make sure that you comment your name, what school you're from, and we'll hopefully get to your questions as well. And if you're watching, make sure to tag us at Pro Football HOF, and we'll hopefully get some posts reshared from you. Okay, let's give Morten one big round of applause here before we get started. Wow. Okay, so my monologue's done here. I'm going to pass it over to Morten, but I do have the first initial question. I get that opportunity. I want to talk about those values that I mentioned. So the values that talk about is commitment, courage, honesty, integrity, and respect. Now, we believe those help make you a Pro Football Hall of Famer. Obviously, you can learn those from football, but what are those values, commitment, courage, honesty, integrity? Which one sticks out to you the most? If you had to pick one.
For me personally, courage. And courage is something that's so important to all of us, not only as athletes, but as student athletes and as human beings. my background, just to give you a little synopsis, I came from Copenhagen, Denmark. In 1977, I was a 16-year-old kid. I was an exchange student. I didn't speak English. And I came to Indianapolis and lived with a family that I had never met before. And that took courage. That took stepping out and really moving boundaries. There was fear of failure, fear of not being accepted because I was a foreign exchange student. And I don't know if you guys at North Gwinnett, I think most schools sometimes you bring in foreign exchange students from different countries. I don't know if you have any, but it was a powerful, very powerful experience. So I had to get an abundance of courage with me in my luggage. And to me, as I look at my high school, 1 year in high school, 4 years at Michigan State, my 25 years in the NFL, I would say the one trait that we embrace at the Hall of Fame, and they're all important, is courage. The courage to be able to fail and understand that you fail forward, that you're not, that it's temporary, that it's part of being a successful human being. And when we learn the most is when we fail. It's not when our hands are above our heads. It's when our back is against the wall. It's when we embrace the world of suck. That's a military term. That's like basic training. That's 2-a-days, 3-a-days for you guys. I don't even know if you have 3-a-days, but I know you got 2-a-days coming in the summer. That's the world of suck. That's when nobody really, it's not a glorified existence, but it's necessary to get where you want to go. I said in my Hall of Fame acceptance speech that you want to get into that rarefied air of excellence. How do we get there? That's the 1%ers, guys. That's you being in the weight room at 7 a.m. That's you doing things that other people are not willing to do. That's you having courage to do things that are not normal, that are exceptional, that will bring you to another level of performance. Football is the high performance business. We know this. Margins are so small. I don't know if you've watched college football or the playoffs in the NFL. I mean, some of these games are just decided by one little play. Did you do your specific assignment to get to the football? Did you not make a mistake and kill our team because you had an unnecessary pre-snap penalty? You can go on and on. Did you turn the ball over? Did you have ball security? All these things that you take for granted sometimes, the specifics of football. It takes courage to master those things. So, long answer to a short question.
No, I think you hit it right on the head.
All the characteristics of a Hall of Famer, they're intertwined. You can't have one without the other. You can't have integrity without character and vice versa. You can't have it without honesty. Honesty is kind of where it starts. Taking a hard look at yourself and saying, am I cheating myself and my teammates? First of all, it starts with you. You're the engine, you're the train, you're driving the car, you're driving your car. And we got to make sure that it's pure, and the intentions are pure and they're focused and they're driven. And then we can get collectively where we want to go. And I'm sure your coaches talk about similar elements. As I'm sitting up here and talking, I'm just reiterating. Discipline's another one, right?
Yeah.
The discipline to do things that are uncomfortable, that takes courage to do. This is where we got to be all the time, every day, every minute of the day. And then, well, one day you can have the 3 symbols of inclusion into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, a gold jacket with your name on it, and 304, that's a number, but it's an important one for me. A ring the size of a VW and a bronze bust in Canton, Ohio, where you can go, your grandkids can go, and when you're long gone, your great grandkids will go and go, hey man, look, that was family right there.
Yeah.
Why not you? Why not aspire to that? So, but it starts with those basic, fundamental characteristics of excellence.
I agree. And I kind of wanted to touch a follow-up about courage, right? Big thing you talked about, coming over to the US as a foreign exchange student and embracing that fear, right? The fear of the unknown, the fear of change. That's a huge change. But what gave you the confidence, Morten, to pursue, high school football, right? What made you want to ingrain in that, right? We have football students in front of us today. I'm sure all of you in the room have a passion for the sport, but what made you want to, step out of your comfort zone and try out that sport?
Well, I didn't. I wanted to play soccer, and the school didn't have a soccer team. And then they came to me and said, well, you have a background in soccer. We need a kicker. You're now our kicker. Let's take a look at you. So the whole team lined up. It was like 80 guys. I remember there was like the second day I was here. And I went to a jamboree game and watched football for the first time in my life. I'm sitting on the middle bleachers and I'm watching the game. And to my immigrant perspective, and I imagine coming from a foreign country and you've never seen American football before, what I saw was like a pile of bodies. And then once in a while, a guy would be carried out on a stretcher. I was like, man, that doesn't look good, Then I noticed like the quarterback center exchange. And you got like a big guy in tight pants bending over, and then you got another guy. That by itself would have been fine. But here comes another guy, smaller guy in tight pants, and he's licking his fingers and putting his hands up the guy's behind. I turned to my host brother. I said, I don't want to be that guy or that guy. He said, oh, yo, you just got to go kick. So the next day, I went out there, realized the ball wasn't round. What am I going to do with this football? It's not round. That's what I was used to kicking. I gave it a rip, and it went 50 yards, and then we had a new kicker. That was pretty much how it all started. I had 80 new friends right there, acceptance through performance. And I think what I took away from the whole thing, besides having a sense of humor about the whole thing, I didn't feel any pressure, and I want to talk about that a little bit too. Everybody talks about pressure. Now I'm going to give you secret sauce that you need to carry with you. Pressure only happens when your skill set does not match the task at hand. So what do we have to do? Prepare. Prepare to the point where your workbench is so dialed in. Identify your workbench, work your workbench, own your workbench. It's got to be so dialed that you suffocate any distasteful situation, any pressure, okay? So for me, this is something I learned, started in high school with courage to go out for a different sport, courage to get on the train when it pulled up to the station. There are defining moments in our lives, especially when we're young. We are not fully baked, guys. That's not a bad thing. You guys are still in the oven. You're developing as human beings, as athletes. Do we get on the train or do we let the train go? Defining moments when you have youthful oblivion. In other words, you don't know what you don't know yet. That comes with age. That comes with wisdom. But the defining moments, don't be scared of those. You may not know at the time it's a defining moment. For me, knowing now what I didn't know then, I could tell for sure my senior year in high school was a defining moment when I got on the football train. When I became a kicker at Ben Davis High School, we went 11-1, went to the semi-states, okay? And colleges came. And I was one of the top-rated recruits after 4 months in this country at Ben Davis High School. And I went to Michigan State, became an All-American. I got on that train too, man. It was exciting. With courage, with intent. Okay? Top-rated kicker, 4th-round pick, first kicker taken in the draft, and 25 years later, gold jacket. Those things don't happen. Those are incremental steps, okay? Small wins equals great success. And if I can drive something home for you, and with you, it's that go courageously, fearlessly, go Go with direction, go with discipline, and go with purpose. Live a purposeful life with intent, you know? That means putting the phones down sometimes, okay? Look each other in the eyes and have meaningful personal relationships. Powerful, productive relationships are based on powerful, productive communication. What do you need from me to get you to the highest level? What do I need from you to get you to the highest level? That's how we have to speak to each other. Hold each other accountable.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think it ties back into, right, talked about that opportunity of kicking for your team, right? And that goes back to the not being afraid to fail, right? You could have went out and not been good at it, but you wouldn't have known if you tried that opportunity. And students listening, students here today, right? Opportunities will present itself all throughout your life. And it's whether you decide, hey, am I going to pursue this opportunity or I'm not, right? And you never know until you try. So that's kind of what, we want to encourage you guys to do is try new opportunities, find something you may like, and, it may end up taking you to a long career and something you're truly passionate about. I have a lot of questions, but I'm going to turn it over to you guys. And then after we get your guys' question, I'm going to go over to Marshall School, located in a remote program here. So they're going to go next after you guys. So
Can I just say one more thing?
yeah, one more thing.
Okay, I'll try to
Absolutely.
make it quick. And this is an important point I want to make. Being an athlete doesn't mean that you're just a one sport athlete. I don't know what the coaches feel about this, but I know from a personal standpoint, in the winter, I was a gymnast. So what that gave me an opportunity to increase my flexibility, my core strength, and my explosiveness. So what I got out of gymnastics, being a tumbling and vaulting a specialist, was that explosiveness. So when I brought that to the football field and to kicking, it was a game changer. So I would encourage you guys to be in different sports when it's outside of football, because that can really that can drive success big time.
Okay.
That's all I wanted to.
Who wants to ask Morten a question? You're going to raise your hand, state your name and your question. Any volunteers? Come on, we got to have some.
Can't be
We'll go right here.
now.
I'm Jacob Torres, and my question is, they say that like kickers are like the most superstitious people in sports and stuff like that. So like I was just asking, did you have any superstitions, or like when you knew that a big play was about to happen and you needed to make the kick, like did you have a routine that you did before that?
You just nailed it. Routine, much better word than superstition. Superstition is I don't like the word personally. Routine is a great word. Protocol is another one. And I did. I was what you would call a technical kicker. Some guys are feel guys. Some players are feel guys, and others have to kind of visualize it. Some guys like a Gary Anderson, I don't know if you remember him. He played for Pittsburgh, Minnesota, played for a long time. Gary Anderson. He was a feel guy. He would just kind of eyeball the ball, and then he would just flow through it, where I would be very precise. So to answer your question, yeah, I had routines. I had a off-season routine. I had an in-season routine. I had a sideline routine. Most of the time as a kicker is spent where? On the sideline. How do you manage that time? That is so important. So the trigger for me would be, okay, we get to the 50-yard line. I'm putting my helmet on. I'm snapping up and I'm ready to go. I'm in the net with a couple of warm-ups, and then I'm basically on the sideline with eye contact to the special teams coach and the head coach. Now, everything has been predetermined. In pregame, we already know the line of scrimmage, going that way, depending on wind, weather, what have you. So head coach, special teams coach already know, from my standpoint, having gone through pregame warmups, 35-yard line going that way, 40-yard line going that way. Now, I just empowered the head coach, the offensive coordinator, to put that into the strategy. Okay, where do we have 3 points? High probability. Nothing is 100%, but can we get into the 90s there versus a punt or versus going for it on fourth down? We know we have 3 points. That's valuable information. That was part of what I did pregame. In game, it would be very like, after a kick, I had a one kick mentality. What does that mean? You could basically say the same thing about your play, one play mentality. One play, good or bad, doesn't define your ability as a player. One kick, good or bad, doesn't define my ability as a kicker. All kicks have the same value, whether they're the first kick of the game or the very last walk-off, hands above the head, we win. They're worth 3 points. Until they start awarding 4 points for 50-plus yarders and 60-plus yarders, which could be coming, I'm not that, wouldn't be surprised. They all have the same value. So I was very methodical. I wrote everything down. I kept a daily log. Write everything down. Why do we write things down? They take on more meaning than if you just say words. If you write things down, personal goals, write them down for the week. What's my personal goals for it could be 1, 2, or 3 things, personal and for the team. How do I enable and empower my teammates? Write them down, and then script everything. I would script my kicks and I would make it distasteful. Monday through Sunday, we kicked on 8-foot goalposts. I was the first one in the league to do this. We had them weld 8-foot goalposts. We got rid of all the 18-6. They were gone. We were kicking on 8-foot goalposts. Over 600 guys tried to take my job in 25 years. None of them could. Why? I don't know. But I know this. When they saw 8-foot goalposts, they were looking around for 18-6. Where are they? Equipment guy would say, well, Mr. Andersen likes to kick on these. Game over right there. Game over. So we aim for the middle. Why do we aim for the middle? It never changes. It never changes. And it's the same with attitude, You have to know where you're going or you can't go. So script it out, write it out. Performance feedback's another thing, very important part of a routine. I'm sorry my answer is long, but this is information I got to get to you. I only got a short time with you. This is valuable stuff that will empower you to go to the next level. These are things, gold nuggets, if you will, that'll take you. Okay, you're already on your way. So write things down. Make it structured, and make it mean something. A practice kick. So the way I would do it specifically, I would write a script. I would say 48-yarder left hash, sudden change, 4th down, we're driving, no score, 3 minutes left in the first quarter. Boom, go. And special teams coach would call that script out. I would go from the sideline, come in, the whole team would be there, and it would be a game-like situation. Timeout after a penalty, a kick after a penalty, sudden change, timeout, a number of things, bad snap, high snap, a hold where the ball is still turning when you're coming to the ball, but it gets stopped, but it's laces. I'm just giving you scenarios that could end up coming up in a game. So we ended up with a huge menu of specific situations. You can do that with any position. You can create scenarios and commit them to memory. Cognitive intervention. That's another thing. Mental rehearsals. Can I give an example?
You're on a roll. I think a lot of the good advice you're giving is what these students need to be doing, right? Practicing what you're going to do, taking mental notes, writing goals down, because that's the way you achieve it.
I'm going to give you an example of anticipatory management. Ahead of the time. Doing something that you almost manifest to happen. You guys remember this kick. I know you're a lot younger than me, but in 1999, I'm hoping. Okay, we're good. 1999, January 17th in the Metrodome, the Atlanta Falcons were playing the Minnesota Vikings in the NFC Championship game. We were 14-2. The Vikings were 15-1. Underdogs, we had to go up there. We had just beat Jerry Rice, Steve Young in the Georgia Dome in the divisional playoff to earn the right to go to the NFC Championship game. So we fly up there. We're dogs, I don't know, 7-point dogs, I think, going into the Metrodome. No one's giving us a chance to win this game. The night before the game in the hotel, downtown Minneapolis, I wrote my script, what was going to happen in the game, what I would like to see happen in the game. I wrote 4 scenarios. The last scenario I wrote was 38 yards left hash in overtime to go to the Super Bowl. Okay? I rehearsed it in real time, slow motion, and I went to sleep. The next day in the Metrodome, we're trailing the Vikings. We're trailing them. We can't catch up. And we're down by a touchdown most of the game. The Vikings have an opportunity with 4 minutes left in the game to go up by 10. Gary Anderson comes out there. He's 35 for 35. He hasn't missed all year. He misses a 38-yarder from the left hash, wide left. Not by much, but he misses it. That gives us an opening. We're down by 7. We go down and drive Jamal Anderson, Chris Chandler. We go down and score. We kick the extra point, and we go into overtime. It's back and forth in overtime. Randy Moss, his rookie year, he's a bad boy. Guy can catch the football. He can run with the football. Agree? He's got a gold jacket. There's a reason for that. We're driving, 4 minutes left in overtime. I'm on the sideline. I know what's going to happen. And here it comes. We have 4th and 4, 4th and 5. We're on the 20-yard line going in. Field goal. 38-yarder left hash in overtime. Served on a platter. Here it is. All my teammates are holding hands, praying to God. And I remember saying to myself, they don't know what's about to happen. We're going to the Super Bowl. I've already made this kick. This is over. They're not driving the car. I'm driving the car. With purpose, with courage. I go out there. Dennis Green calls timeout. We already knew that. I knew that. That was already rehearsed the night before in the hotel. Okay? Everything happened in slow motion. The ball comes. It looks big, fat. I hit that thing. As soon as I hit it, woof, you can hear it. Right part of the foot, vertical ball flight, right down the middle. The goalpost could have been 2 feet wide. I don't even watch the kick. I do a 180 and I start running. And then I noticed one thing. Deafening silence in the Metrodome, except for up in the end zone. At about 2,000 Falcons fans going absolutely bananas. And we're going to the Super Bowl. So here's an example of writing things out, staying on course, and delivering mentally, rehearsing, and then on game day at the highest level, under duress, very uncomfortably. This is a situation. When you're a kicker, are you ever in a situation where it's comfortable? No. When you're a cornerback, a shutdown corner, are you ever in a situation when you're manned up with their best receiver where it's comfortable? No. When you're a quarterback and you gotta take snaps and you gotta deliver the ball to the target, is that ever comfortable? No. If you're a pass rusher and you're going up against left tackle is usually the baddest Mo on the team, right? Is that comfortable? No. So, if you're running back and we need 4 or 5 yards, we got to have it. We got to have it to ice the game. That's not comfortable, but it's necessary. It takes courage. And that day in the Metrodome, it took a lot of courage, but it also took a lot of planning and preparation.
Right. You hit it. You prep for that moment, and obviously that preparation paid off, right? And students, athletes today, right? You guys hone in on your craft, you come in for workouts,
Yeah.
You stay longer in the classroom and you prep for those moments, and when those moments come, you hope that preparation pays off.
And you guys need to make it personal to you. Your goals should be personal. Your agenda should be personal. Your script should be personal. So you can take ownership of it. Every single person in this room needs to take ownership of their behavior, of their traits, of their journey, of the run that you're about to go on now.
Yeah.
This is, and it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. I'm not asking you guys to do this today or tomorrow or in a week or in a month. But what I'm asking you is to create habits that are long lasting.
Exactly.
Based on the traits that we're talking about at the hall. Incorporate those traits into your habits. Make it long term. Make it part of your life, like brushing your teeth, flossing your teeth. You know, that's kind of what I want to drive home. I hope it resonates with you a little bit.
Yeah. These are some good stories and good messages to take away. And I know we have a lot more questions here to get to. We're going to go over to Marshall STEM Academy here in just a second. So come up to your mic, state your name and state your question. And then from there, after we're done at Marshall, we're going to give you guys, students watching, a cool opportunity to get to see a little bit of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So Marshall, whenever you're ready, go ahead and unmute and ask Morten your question.
Right, say your name.
What job? Oh, James.
So my name's James.
My name is James.
What's your question?
What job did you have after the NFL?
What job did you have after the NFL?
So it's a good question, and a lot of us, struggled after leaving the game. That's an important point to make. That if you don't have a plan, then anything will happen. So. In 2000, when I finished in 2007 as the leading scorer in the history of the game, there was definitely a void. It took me about a year to kind of get it together, because what happens is when football leaves you and it's no longer available, the structure is gone. And the structure that kind of defined you, you have to replace it with something. How do you replace a game-winning field goal in the NFC Championship game? How do we get the same adrenaline, in business or in whatever path you choose? So what I ended up doing, I did get some help with some therapy, which was really important for me, is to kind of clarify, listen, just because this part of your life is over, okay, it doesn't mean that you can't translate all the lessons that you had, all the lessons you learned to life, to the next stage, and make it exciting. I started a business, Morten Andersen Global. We do international golf events, high-end golf events for business executives. I do public speaking. I do business consulting. I sit on some boards now. And we also started a foundation, my wife and I, a family foundation. We raise money for special ops soldiers and their families. And we also help the Boys and Girls Club and quality of life programs for kids. So those two entities have really helped me kind of close the gap, if you will. Good question from that student. Hits home, but yeah, again, it takes courage to leave one business and go to another. It took courage to leave football. I tried to come back for 26 years. Nobody was dancing, unfortunately, but I tried. And, another thing that I did, and actually right here at North Gwinnett, you guys helped us out when I needed a field. I could come out here and teach young kids how to kick, and teach college kids and high school kids how to kick. And that was valuable. And, I really have enjoyed, giving the knowledge to the next generation. This is part of what we should do as human beings.
You never know what's coming in your journey, right? And 25 seasons is a long time in the NFL. And, you could have just kicked back after that, but it's always those next steps. What comes next, right? And I know athletes in this room today, a lot of you probably have dreams of making it to the NFL. But also find some other things that you're passionate about and how you use those passions to pursue, your careers in the future or how your journey looks. Morten, earlier in the program, you talked about the 3 signs of being a Hall of Famer. You got your ring, K-Jewel Ring Excellence, the Haggard Gold Jacket, and the bronze bust. So fortunate today, we're going to send it over to Jake Ray at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, who's going to be live in Canton, and he's going to tell you a little bit about a bronze bust here. So take it away, Jake.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jack. Morten, great to see you. No, not there in person, obviously, but remotely here through my phone as I'm here in Canton. And probably the most famous room within the walls here of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and that is our Hall of Fame gallery. And, I got here behind me a bust that looks very familiar to you, Mr. Andersen, and we're excited to bring this to you, to not only to all the students get to see this today, but for you as well. Talk a little bit about what it means to have one of these. You know, in the game of football, at all levels, from the lowest level, Pee Wee, all the way to the National Football League, there's been about 300 million people to play the game. In the college level, there's about 5 million who played the football in college. And then just about 30,000 have been paid to either play, coach, or administer the game of professional football. And there's only 382 Hall of Famers. Just to boil that down, you know, that is the top of the top, the best of the best that have left an impact on the game of football. And truly, the game of football, the whole story cannot be told without every bronze bust within here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And Morten, you are obviously one of our great Hall of Famers. Now, we talked a lot about, you know, I've been listening here to this program all morning, and there's a lot of great advice, Morten, that you've given to these students. So I kind of want to take a different spin, keep it a little light here, and talk about some kicking records and maybe what your kicking records are. So for those of you that don't know, there's a kicker who plays for the Jacksonville Jaguars. His name's Cam Little. This year, he kicked the 2 longest field goals in NFL history, a 68-yarder and a 67-yarder. So he owns the top 2 spots. And then in the preseason, which doesn't officially count in the NFL record book, he kicked a 70-yarder. So, Morten, I got to know, longest field goal you ever made in your career? Official or non-official?
74 yards.
Was it practice, preseason?
Yeah, it was in Spartan Stadium's, my own 36-yard line. And it was full rush. 22 guys out there, snap, hold, kick. It was a practice kick. 63 was against Ohio State in the shoe in Columbus. That's still a Big Ten record. But it's impressive what these guys are doing today. A couple of things have changed when, we used to have an offensive lineman. He'd go on a 10-play drive and he had gloves on, and then he would have to snap on a field goal. Now we have the long snapper. Now we have the K balls that can be nice and fat, and that gives you a little extra. Don't want to sound bitter. These guys are very good. They start at a younger age, and they develop. And listen, their skill set is off the chart, so it's fun to watch. I'd love to see like 60-yarders give 4 points now. That'd be fun. 70-yarders, 5 points. Let's up the ante a little bit. It's a fun kick to watch, the long ones. And never had an opportunity. I think the longest I had in a game, an opportunity was 64 or 65 against Tampa Bay in the Superdome when I was with the Saints, and that was long enough, just wide left. So it's not that guys in the 80s and 90s didn't have the leg. I think it was more about getting opportunity to go long now. And they're firing on all cylinders right now. It's impressive, and it's fun to watch.
Yeah, I know this past weekend we got a lot of awesome finishes in the playoffs. So excited to see the Kickers' impact as we move forward here to the big game coming up here in February. So, Morten, from everybody here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, we want to thank you for not only being a part of the program today, but for everything you've done for the game of football and everything you have already done and will continue to do for us here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So that's all we got here from Canton, Ohio. Jack, we'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Jake. And then we're going to go to Heartland High School after I ask this question here. We're going to stay on the kicker topic.
Okay.
So currently, you were the last kicker to go in, so the second place kicker to be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And, there's some kickers coming up, right? Adam Vinatieri's on the ballot this year. But what was that like going in as only the second kicker, right? To be known as the best at your position, arguably all time.
I didn't give it much thought. I was more of a process-oriented player. I think I know it's a result-driven business that we're in. Everybody wants to win, but I think trying to make the process as powerful as possible is really where the secret sauce is, and just driving quality in everything we do every day. Kind of what I alluded to earlier. So what was your question again? I forgot.
Being inducted as the second place kicker.
Yeah, I never gave that much thought. I mean, I think Adam Vinatieri is the next guy to go in. He's a finalist this year. Could be happening this year or happen next year. It took me 5 years to get in. He's the all-time leading scorer now. He has more field goals than anybody, and he had some big kicks in the Super Bowl. So he certainly deserves to be in there. But as far as my own journey, I was grateful when I got the call, and got the knock on the door. That was special, and it's humbling, and you reflect on a career where 382 games, which is a lot of games, 360 consecutive games, scoring at least a point. So that's 22 and a half years, guys, without missing a game, without not scoring a point in a game. And that's still an NFL record. So there's a lot out there. The body of work is deep. And my challenge to you is to write your own story, write your own book, and create scenarios that are beneficial not only to yourself, but most importantly to the team that you're part of. I encourage you to do that, with guts, with courage, with integrity, with great character, with great energy, great passion, and I encourage you guys to do that. It's fun, man. Fun to be your age right now. It's exciting, man. You guys are all jet pilots. I give the analogy that when you move forward, when you're going, and when you're going and you're going good and everything's clicking. Jet pilots don't look in the rearview mirror. You're jet pilots. Keep that in mind. Foot on the gas, not on the brake.
Yeah, you guys got a lot of opportunities coming up. Students listening, here and remote, right? Like you said, be a jet pilot, go forward, right? That vision, fearlessly have the courage. With that, we're going to send it over to Heartland High School. So same thing, step up to the camera and microphone, state your name and your question for Morten.
You're good. Hello, my name is Tweety, and do you have any kids, and did playing football cause challenges staying emotionally engaged with their family?
Katie asked, do you have any kids, Morten? And how did that playing football kind of affect your family, like family life?
2 kids. Sebastian is 26 now. He was a linebacker at Lanier High School for a year, and then he had too many concussions, and we pulled him. But he ended up playing golf on the golf team there. Aiden is a gemologist now. He's down in Buckhead working, and he went to Beaufort High School, played golf, was a goalie on the soccer team there. As far as how it affected the family, we had kids later in our life, so that wasn't a big issue. The big issue was moving. So for the first 21 years, I was with 2 teams. I was with the Saints for 13 years. I was with Atlanta for 8 years. Then I went to the Giants in 2001. I went to the Chiefs for 2 years in 02, 03, and the Vikings in 04, and then back to the Falcons in 06, 07. So you move around, but we had a base in Atlanta. We bought a house in Kansas City. And other than that, we rented places. So it is a little bit transitional. You got to tell the wife, hey, we're going to XYZ team, and it's only going to be for 4 or 5 months, and it worked out. Listen, it was an exciting life, and the money was off the chart, obviously, and the benefits. So, and I loved what I did. It was very. I feel very privileged to be able to play for 25 years and write that script, and be able to exit when I wanted to exit. But basically, my body couldn't do it anymore. When my body said, I cannot plant anymore. I cannot deliver a ball to the target line down there. It was time to hang it up and do something else. So, yeah.
Good question.
Good question, yeah.
Before we go to North Ridgeville, our last remote school, I'm going to turn it back over to you guys, North Gwinnett students. What questions do we have for Morten? Got a lot of people here, so somebody's got to have one. Good question?
So, kind of make this Todd Faulkner, by the way. Makes it a team question. You kind of answered it with the 1999 kid. I remember that like it was yesterday. So we're 24-3 the past 2 years.
Beautiful.
And we're that team that's right there, but we're just got to get over that hump. And past 2 years, it's quarterfinals and Final Four. Had to go on the road and lost, obviously, both of them. So I'm just kind of curious. So to what that week was like going to Minnesota, Nobody gave y'all a chance, like you said. 15-1 Vikings. It was just the odds were against y'all. Is there anything that y'all changed that week? Your coaches?
I think we
message or-
Yeah, it's a good question. It's there's a lot there. And it's the minute details. We certainly circled the wagons because we were a little PO'd that we didn't get the respect from a lot of people, odds makers, bookmakers, the Vikings, the league. You're 14-2, you ought to be at home, but they were 15-1, so fair enough. But then we had to go and take care of business, and you guys have had tremendous success here at North Gwinnett, and it's just the little things, the little details that can change and can elevate to the next level. And so that's going to take some self-reflection, on your guys. I'm sure you're doing that after the year. You almost made it, right, to the end game, to the end. But you didn't. So let's look at that. Are we doing everything we can individually, collectively, to get that done? So that's identifying any weak link that we have, right? And just being totally honest about that. And attacking it with courage, and attacking it selflessly, understanding that it's not an attack. I'm not attacking a person. We're attacking a problem if there's a problem. So that, I had a special teams coach. He was all about that. He would rip you, constantly. It could be for any little thing, I might have gone 5 for 5, but one kick was off the middle, and he'd rip me, because it was inside the left upright. What are we doing here? Are we trying, So, I mean, the standards are high. The standards are the standards, but they're high. They should be high, but they should be attainable. Goals are important. They're like road signs. Goals are road signs through the journey you go, and they should be specific. They should be motivational, and they should be relatable to you, subjective. They shouldn't be unattainable. They shouldn't be threatening. Goals should always be a tool that you should have right here in the belt to guide you to where you go. And then you bring the energy, and then you bring that intent and purpose, and then you have a beautiful thing. I don't know if I'm answering your question. I'm just kind of, there's a lot there to unpack, because you've had so much success. So the taste of failure is not that familiar. And when it comes, it can sometimes like slam you, wake you up. Like, what was that? And why did that happen? I mean, that's like reality check. You can call it what you want, but the bottom line is the other team had more points at the end of the day. So how do we prevent that nasty feeling from repeating? How do we consistently go about our business and stack wins upon wins, successes upon, and that starts with you, and then collectively we go.
Absolutely. North Ridgeville, we're going to send it your way for the question here. So go ahead and step up to the mic, say your name and the question you have for Mr. Andersen.
My name is Ryan, and I was wondering, throughout your 25 years in the NFL, what are your qualities in a good leader?
Ooh, throughout 25 years in the league, what makes a good leader? What qualities? It's a good question.
Honesty to ask yourself tough questions, and if you don't have the answer, the courage to go find them. Does that make sense?
I think it makes sense.
That's all. I mean, I think really the honesty to self-reflect and say, where am I weak? Where am I strong? And then the courage to fix, to improve, to be willing to embrace the process, to be willing to embrace the suck, if you will, and go to that rarefied place of excellence. That's a leader to me. It's self-improvement. Self-improvement is an everyday habit, every day. all the time. Self-improvement. If we're not doing that, rust never sleeps, guys. We have to move. We have to move. And we have to move forward. This is the most paramount thing I can drive home, is to have the courage to just go forward. I don't care how unpleasant it is, how difficult it is. There's within you the ability to do it.
100%. Yeah, I got one more question before we wrap up the program. And we talked, hit a lot of great messages, about courage, about honesty. But I want to talk about adversity. I talked about it a little bit, but 25 years in the NFL doesn't come without adversity, right? And everybody in life is going to face adversity. So it could be the same thing, could be something completely different, right? We all have unique things that happen to us, but talk about a little bit of adversity you faced throughout your career.
I'll give you one example. It'll just be a good way to close out. In 2005, I couldn't get a job. I couldn't get a phone call. I just had a good year with the Vikings. I'm back in Atlanta, and it's like March of 2005. I had an opportunity to go to NFL Europe for a month to do the games for Fox, which I did. When I came back, I started self-training with a trainer. We would go to Pierce Park right here, George Pierce, sorry, George Pierce Park. I didn't have a place to kick. So, I couldn't go to the Falcons facility. And so I went to Pierce Park, and the guys that had the keys to the gate over there, I got to know them pretty good, bought them lunch, and they were able to unlock it. And I would be out there 4 times a week training, and the phone didn't ring for 20 months, and 2005 became 2006. And when the little leaguers needed that field, I would have to defer. I would have to get off the field. Now, I always practice like I play. So I would have my Pro Bowl jersey on. I had 7 of them, but I put one of those on just to remind myself that I was pretty good. I put my Giants pants on. I put my Falcons helmet on. So I had a gnarly outfit out there, and the kids would go, "What are you doing? Are you crazy?" And then the parents would look at me like I was completely nuts, which I probably was. But for 20 months, when the phone didn't ring and nobody wanted to engage me, to hire me. Now remember, I'm 77 points away from becoming the all-time leading scorer in the history of the game. There's a carrot there, is there not? Is that not something you want to go for? I can't get a job. I need 77 points. Let's go. 2005 turns to 2006, and I'm watching the Falcons play Tampa Bay. It's the 3rd week of the 2006 season, and Michael Kanan's having a bad day. He missed 4 kicks inside of 40 yards. And I remember turning to my neighbor, Eric, and saying, "I'm switching to water now." And I did. He goes, "Why are you switching to water?" We had a few pops, watching the game. Listen, it's football. And I said, "I'm switching to water because the phone's going to ring." He goes, "The phone hasn't rang in 20 months. It's not going to ring." 20 minutes after the game was over, it was Rich McKay on the phone. "Can you come in tomorrow for a workout?" And I'm thinking, this is unbelievable. 20 months, and we're sitting here, and I'm switching to water the night before, and here we go. So I thought they were just going to take a look at my leg and make sure it was attached to the hip. No, it was me and 4 guys half my age. Now, I'm 46 years old. Keep that in mind. 46 years old. Now, I've been training for 20 months in the park. I'm ready to roll. These 4 kids that are up against me, mano a mano, 23 years old. I call them flat bellies because that's what they were, flat bellies. Just like you guys. A little older, but not much. So we go 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, and back in. About 15 kicks. In the middle of the net, behind the goalpost in flowery branch, there was an orange stripe. 13 of the 15 hit the orange stripe. I watched the flat bellies. They exited right and left, and I turned around. Everybody was watching. The GM was there, special teams coach. Jim Moore Jr. was there. And I said, "Questions, anyone?" And my special teams coach goes, "Yeah, I got one question. Black or blue ink?" I said, "Well, I'll take black ink." I signed a 1-year deal. And 3 months later, in the Georgia Dome, I became the all-time leading scorer in the history of the game. Adversity, you bet. Courage to do the unthinkable, the unlikely, oh, you bet. Tenacity to see it through. What if I had given up? What if I hadn't been ready? ESPN would have had a field day with me. Oh, look at this old man here. Look at him shanking him all over the place. But no. Right down the middle with vertical ball flight. And then I ended in 07, leading scorer in the game. I had my best year. My very last game was against the Seattle Seahawks. 4 kicks. Oldest special teams player of the week in the NFC in the history of the game at 47. Dropped the mic, and here we are.
What a great story to wrap up the program here. Thank you, Morten, for another of a Heart of Hall of Famer installment connected by Extreme Networks. Let's give Morten one final round of applause.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys.
Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a beautiful day, everyone.